Hello, ERA, 7 gauge, bit of a rusty old girl, bit of a bugger. The British Standard one, and we'll go through it and I'll show you a few different tricks to make things a bit easier. Right, now they're not as easy as the Viscounts. They're a little bugger they are, so we'll get a 7 gauge tension tool, shiny tool, a little bit in there. We're going to make sure it's nice and no key for this one. It's a little bugger though. Right, I'm going to use a long wire, you see, same length of my nail almost. Quite a long wire, okay? So there's a reason I'm going to need this one, I'll show you. I've had a little play around with it, and it's a bit of a pig. It took me a while to figure it out, and I'll show you why. Right, we'll start off at the front and we'll go through it. So we're looking at this distance here. Okay, so this is right front of the case, okay? So I like these handles. So front of the case, and we're going to push in a little bit. See, I can get in just that much. See that distance there? Just that much there. So that. So I'm making it away to about 3, and then there's one real low lever, which I can feel. I'm stopping because I'm not going all the way through because I've counted them. I'm stopping, so you're going to have to go underneath. There's a real low lever, and then behind it there's the 5th and final lever. So it's a bit of a tricky bugger. There's not much lift on it at all. So I first started off in the conventional way, as you do, with a little lifts and listen for me tink tink tink. You know, trying to avoid the binding, avoid the false notches. Little tink tinks. There's 2. There's that 3. Felt a little tiny movement coming back, so I thought, oh, I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3, yeah, 1, 2, just checking them 3, and I'm stuck. Right, let's go underneath that bugger, bit of corkscrewing. I'm going to use the edge of that wire just to flick it up a little bit. That's it. See, I'm going to go back a little bit more. Right, I've moved him out of the way. Now let's go for the 5th and final one. Take all the tension off, but just hold it. I want it. Now I've got him. Now the other one's dropped, so I'm going to sort of pull myself back. There's 1. Everything's gone solid. 2. There's still that little one, and it was a game of backwards and forwards. We get false notch. I thought, oh, for God's sake! I played this game backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. So how did I figure it out? So what I'm going to do is I'll eventually, because of the 4th one is the lowest, sitting right on the curtain. So I've gone behind it now. I've turned my tension tool around. I push it right to the back. I'm behind it. I want to go for 4th first. And I'm going to have to wiggle my wire around 5th first. Sorry, wiggle my wire around 4th, and then go back into it. I think that's the only way I really can get into this. So get on the very back. Make sure I'm right to the back. There we go. I want to hear that tick tick tick. Now there's that 4th. Oh, it's dropped again, so we're going to go back. Oh, it's solid. We don't turn solid. We're happy he's there. Right. Now there's that 4th, and I'm going to drop back, twist my wire down, pull back. I'm at the front now. Light tension. I can't lose that 5th one. I've got to hold it, but watch I don't pull myself forward into any false notches. The 1's not quite having it yet. 2 is. 3 definitely got to go in there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We got. I had to nudge them up a little bit. Now I'm hoping 5th is still there, and I've got to nudge that 4th one out of the way without losing anything else, and I've got to try and get underneath it. So there, it was just a touch. Okay, so remember, in this sort of situation, don't always throw your bolt all the way across. If it's in the door, you open the door and you get through. It was a difficult lock. It shouldn't have been as difficult a lock, but it was. So how did I suss it out? You can see how much shite's in there and all. So the easiest way of sussing these out is find another lock that's very similar. Okay, That's the easiest way. When you start practicing at home, which you're going to do, which you have to do, find something similar. So what's similar to this ERA? Well, there's another ERA here. And this one is called an ERA Viscount 7 gauge. And what does that have? It has a lovely little window in it. That's where it comes. And what does it do? It fits exactly the same over the ERA British Standard. So this one is an easier lock, and once you've mastered that, then you go into the British Standard, and we'll have a look at that. Right, so we'll take all this top off and we'll go through it. So there's many locks out there, which you'll find after a while are very similar. Very similar indeed, almost uncannily similar, with lever packs being the same. Some of them you can interchange the levers, very similar bolts, curtains. Yeah, you think of, oh, that's a different brand, but it's not. It's very similar to the other one. How's that happened? Well, who knows? But hey ho, they are very similar. Right, so as you can see, it's full of the usual crud. I've got the lever pack out there, but you can see where I was struggling. See that fourth one there, and that was a bugger to get across. So on here we've got first one is force notch on the top, so it's a high lift, tick tick tick, so it's got to be there. I'm going to be ticking in that gap there. Second one the same, third one the same. Fourth one is a tiny movement just to get up to that gate. Force notch on the bottom, and I think, let's have a look, where's the fifth one? Have a look at that. Force notch on the top again. So you got 3 force notch tops, fourth is on the bottom, fifth on the top. So it should have been a simple, easy pick, like an ERA Viscount, but it's not, because you got one that's really low, sitting right on the curtain on number 4, and every time, even a slightly little nudge, you'll set that off into a false notch, or you'll lose all your binding. Or so I couldn't pick it front to back, and I'll show you that now. We're going to use that cover. Okay, it's not completely different lock, but we're going to use the cover. It's got a little training hole in it, and that's why we can show you what's going on. So have a look at locks, what you got, and see what covers you, what can fit each other. You'll be surprised. It's like any old lock. I never throw any old locks away. There's always some part that's going to be useful for something, because they are so interchangeable. Right. So we'll put it on as a case as it's on. So I'm going to try my best now, but I've got enough room so I can move and you can see. And I'll try and talk through it as I'm going, the best I can. So again, we know it's 7 gauge. There you go. We're going to get that long wire. So if I pick it, as you conventionally would, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll have a look. So there's one. There's a tick, 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 see? Oh, I've got 3, tick, tick, tick. Jumped over a little bit. So there's 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3 really quickly. Nice and easy. Right, fourth is right, really low. I don't know if you can see that. You see that fourth there? Right, there you go. I ain't got much more room here, but I'm trying my best. Fourth, I've got to sort of scoot that out. Fourth's where it needs to be now. See, look, bouncing. Now, fifth is not set. Right, fifth force notch on the top. So I've got to watch it. I don't get too much pressure, so it doesn't jump straight into that force notch. So I've got to hold everything where it is. But as soon as it's tight. As soon as now look what happens. The little bugger, as you can see now, I can't get any more zoom than I've already got. There's the fifth one at the back. It's stuck slightly up. Okay, so there's no way in the world, because of the binding order, that I'm ever going to get back. Even if I sort of dropped it back a little bit, I'm going to lose everything. So you can't pick it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we'll back up a little bit, move this over a little bit so I can get my hand in there, and we'll pick it the way I just picked it. So we'll pick it So I went straight to the back first. Tick, 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 tick. I had to dip my wire down, pull underneath that bloody low lever, go onto the first. Tick, tick, tick. Second, tick, tick, tick. Third, tick, tick, tick. Fourth low lever. Now I've got to go over here, put a little bit of pressure on it, tick, nudge fourth, and we're through. Even easier when you can see, and it, but you get the drift. It was because of the binder. Oh, it took me ages to figure it out. So I thought, I've got to show you somehow why you can get a problem like that. That fifth one, even though it was gentle and it didn't go into force notch, it just stayed up because the binding order wasn't correct. So it can be an absolute pig. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, you know, put the old reasonably clean thumbs up, leave a nice comment. Remember, it's an interactional channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. It helps you out massively. Now, I'm going to do another video later on for the supporters today. Supporters, I did promise you, and I've got one. It weren't bloody cheap. Let's have a look. Oh, you don't see them very often. And we'll talk about what it is. Let's get out of this bag. It's the first time my mucky fingers have got all over it, so I do apologise. Right, it's probably a little better than one I've already got, actually. So what is it? It's RST, obviously. Key gauge TA 700. It's actually got 5.5s in it, which is pretty good. So what we've got here, we've got all the different gauge sizes for your key. So this one's an ER8, so we should think that was going to be a 7, and it is. And you say, check it in there, it's a 7 gauge. If we put that in the 8, it won't fit. It'll fit in the 7, but not in the 8. It's as simple as that. And then all the way down here, is it a 6? It is. But there's too much slop. And this top part here is for piped. So keys with holes in down the middle. So they'll read off, which is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is all the top parts. And all the bottom parts, that big fat one there, is 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing on 4.5, 5, and 6. So that's what it is. It's a key gauge. Very, very handy. If you're trying to understand keys, key cutting, make you think out of keys. Now, I've got a couple of them. I've collected them over the years. So we've got another one here. Oh, some of these are old girls. Really old girls. Sonic one. This is in swag, as well as gauges and 0.4s. As you can see, very, very similar. Pin and pipe key gauge, that's what it is. There's my slightly different. It wasn't like this when I got it, I tell you. It was absolutely rusty. You couldn't read the numbers, so I did spend a nice little bit of work on that. So you do get them like that. And you might see the popular ones, excuse me. This is the old girl. I mean, I've got a couple of these. I keep looking for them. This is the old girl, the old classic one. You only really, you know, you need 5 and 7, and the pipe part I use a lot. But this one's a little bit better, actually. The number's a little bit bigger. Obviously, it's brand new. And it's this week's supporters prize draw for your support. Appreciate the support, guys. Makes all this sort of stuff possible, the time and whatnot. Now, let me just move it. I've got another video that I'm doing. Let me move all these out of the way. And your supporters, you'll understand what I'm doing later. I don't like to show too much on YouTube. Move these airbags out of the way. Right. So there will be another video. I'll send it to you. On all them bits and pieces I was talking about the other day. And it'll be quite interesting, actually. You will quite like it. Right then. Who's going to be the lucky doodah this week? Let's just get... Oh, we got one. We got one. We got one of you. We got... Who are you? Somebody... Who? Who are you? Dave Williams. Dave Williams. Congrats. Cherish it, my friend. They're not easy to come by and they're not bloody cheap. So this pin and pipe gauge is yours. So Dave, a fantastic weekend, and the rest of you. Everyone stay safe, stay well, and look out for my next video. Take it easy, guys. Ta-da.